Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and tonight I'm going to play Neanderthal by Phil Eklund. And after we've seen the evolution of the dinosaurs and the mammals on American megafauna, with the appearance at the very end of Homo sapiens, this is now kind of the next step in our historical journey. And yeah, let's set up the game. So, the game is set. We're gonna play a 3-player game. You can also play that solitaire, 2-player, and you can play that co-op or competitive. I'm gonna play a 3-player competitive game. I'm lately more in the mood to do these competitive multiplayer games. So we see the archaic man here, Homo heidelbergensis, with the brain map. This brain map became kind of famous from Origins, and we'll meet it again here. We see the Cro-Magnon, Homo sapiens, and the Neanderthal, Homo neanderthalensis. Each species starts with 6 cubes, which are unassigned hunters. 1 cube here, which is an elder, and the black disc underneath indicates that it's an immature elder, which means basically that until that black disc goes away and he becomes mature, he has no effect. This is a fire starter elder that would give us some advantages during the game rounds. We also have some discs, 3 colored discs, and they represent our vocabulary. The black discs are technical words, the yellow disc or orange disc social words, and the white discs are natural words that help us to comprehend the natural, the natural events, whatever, around us. Okay. In addition, you can see here we have a brain map, and there are three parts. Also a technical domain, a black one, a social domain, and a nature domain. We can use our vocabulary, these discs, to make connections between these domains. These are called portals. And if you have a certain number of portals in a certain patterns, you can gain more specialized elders. And if you have 5 portals, you flip the whole card and you become tribal. So basically your brain abilities have evolved to the, I don't know, to the point where we are now, or whatever you, yeah, that's possibly what is meant then. What else do we have? Well, we have lots of cubes and a few cylinders. This is basically our dead pile. The cylinders represent alphas, which come later into the game. Bunch of dice. We have cards. Here we have the daughter cards. This is now our draw pile, and each turn we draw a card. So when the last card is drawn and the turn is done, the game ends. But it is possible that some events will bring more cards from here into the game. So we don't know exactly how long the game will take. Finally, this represents, well, the European hunting grounds, the European biomes. We have here a north row and a south row. And nearly on every row we can see, or in every biome, on every card, we can see an animal, except for here, there is a flint mine where you can, well, gain resources. And yeah, we're going to hunt these animals. We can sometimes try to domesticate them later in the game. And here we can gain new technologies in the flint mine. But we're going to see all this in detail later. In addition, each species has a sexuality card. It's this one here. And that indicates a, well, sexual habit. For example, this guy has now pair bonding, and that comes with a special, well, not ability, but well, it says your daughter's abilities and portal actions are inactive until she marries. So that's kind of a penalty here. But the advantage is he has a greater vocabulary because he doesn't have to pay any discs here on this male parental involvement. Because basically, I guess, the ladies take care of the children, but I'm not so sure about that. I find that all a little odd. I don't really understand the connection between this male parental involvement and words, basically. And that is, in general, a little problem here in the game, that there are sometimes connection between a vocabulary, words, and some other gamey aspects, which I don't really get. They might be there. I haven't read all the designer's notes. There are lots of them in this rule. I think it comes with 6 or 8 pages of historical notes, scientific notes, whatever. But yeah, it seems a little odd to me. Still, it's an advantage if you have a higher vocabulary and if you don't need so much here on this on your sexuality card. It's a little different here. The harem holding, they need to place one disc of each color on their card, but the daughters don't have to be married to use their abilities. It says your husbands are mobile in your tableau, which is something I also don't really get. May still bid if tribal using disc at half value. Usually you're not to bid if you're tribal, but these are all things we see later. Interesting is you can flip these cards, and on the back side you have another sexual habit. In this case it's promiscuous. And there you can see it needs 2 white, 2 orange, and 2 black discs. So you would lose 6 discs of your vocabulary, which brings you into trouble. That's pretty dangerous because you can get easier into chaos that way. Therefore, I chose, you can't choose at the beginning of the game which side of your card you want to have. And there's 3 different cards, and there are also these 3 different sexuality ways of sexuality: pair bonding, promiscuous, and harem holding. And each card has its unique combination here. So he chose now the pair bonding as his starting sexual habit. And if he goes into chaos, that's written here, may flip during chaos losses. If he goes into chaos, he's allowed to flip this card. So if he finds the right time, he might do this and then maybe enjoy the advantages of this, which says you may gather, but you may not place husbands. And you also gain different points for the things. And that brings us right away to the victory conditions. The victory condition is simply points. You want to get as many points as possible. And basically we all get points for the same things, but the number of points we get depends on your sexual habit. So here, for example, in the pair bonding thing, you get a point for hunters. These are the guys you have down here, the cubes. For the alpha, that would be the cylinder, if you can get that. For elders, this would be this guy, but it has to be a mature elder. Husbands, we'll see later what that is. Daughters, same thing. Trophies, yeah, that's something you get for the hunt. Domestic animals, inventions, you can also get them by hunting. And 1 point for the vocabulary, which are, as we already said, all these discs. But if you now flip the card, you can see here we have 2 for the trophies, 4 for the domestic animals, 1 for the daughters. If we flip the card, we see 3 for the trophies and 4 for the domestic animals. The alpha gives us 4, a hunter gives us 2. On the other side, the hunter gives us only 1, the alpha 3. So there is quite a difference. And harem holding is again another different way, or not a way to collect points, but you get another number of points for the different aspects. So let's start a game turn. First thing we do is we draw one of these cards, daughter or event. First it's kind of an event and it later will be a daughter card. So let's see what it says. And as I said, first we use this side here, the event. We have to resolve that. And it says the sharing of food after a kill may have led to high MPI division of labor organized around a home base. Well, the MPI division is this male parental involvement. Tooth wear in Neanderthal women indicate they used their teeth as a third hand while their men were out hunting. So, now we see the first event is this one here, and that is a worm glacial at one event to the bottom of the deck. So now we take this event here, and basically it doesn't matter if we add it to the bottom or the top, simply because we don't know what it is. So the game will go now one additional round. Then we have chaos. And chaos means, that's a pretty important thing in the game. You have to check if you have more hunters, more unassigned hunters, these guys here, then you have vocabulary. This is not the case right now for no player. You can see we have a vocabulary of, well, 9, 10, something like that, 12. And so we have all 6 hunters at the beginning, so there are no problems here. If we had more hunters than our vocabulary, we would lose half our hunters and an elder, which would be pretty bad. But that's not the case. Then we have here the elder dead. So that means, because the symbol shows up once here on the card, there are also cards where it shows up more than once, but here it's only once. That means now each player has to roll exactly 1 die, and he has to remove the elder that sits on the number that is rolled by the die. So here you can only have elders of 3, 4, 5, and 6. And right away this guy only has an elder of 6. So if he rolls a 6, he loses his elder, otherwise there is no effect. Nope. Second guy, nope. Third one, yeah, he sucked. So he loses the elder. And this guy is killed now, so he goes into the dead pile. And finally, we have here Wanderlust. These 2 wings with an eye show that. Now that affects the player who has lost the most hunters during chaos, which we had here. If it's equal, and that's the case now because nobody has lost anything during chaos, then we follow the player order. And the player order is also determined by the card. We have here a green symbol which says 1, and then a yellow symbol. So that means green player goes first, yellow player second, red player goes last. So in this case, this Wanderlust effect is determined by the player order, so the green player will lose 1 cube, 1 hunter for each symbol to another player. And he can choose to which player that's going to be. So he's going to give each player a single hunter now. And these players now can use these alien hunters or Wanderlust hunters just like their own. With a few restrictions, you can never go on a hunt only with Wanderlust hunters. There has to be always one of your own hunters. They can also not become elders and husbands. So basically these Wanderlust hunters can accompany your hunter party and simply give them an additional die, which is not bad. Okay, so that's the end of this event. We did all these 4 symbols. And now we're going to rotate the card. And we see a woman. That's a daughter, generous woman. And we're going to now auction this daughter. So everybody is now allowed to do the bidding. And this here is the currency. We can bid these social vocabulary discs or the technical vocabulary discs. to get this this daughter. Now I just want to figure out how much the different people will bid and use a few die rolls and a little common sense here. Okay, for the archaic man, this seems to be maybe the most valuable one. It comes with a few special abilities. First one is food sharing. May bid while tribal as if vocal. Usually you're not allowed to still take part in the auctions if you become tribal, so if you flipped your card. So you cannot gain additional daughters. But with that it's possible, and that's pretty good because daughters give you points. In addition, it allows you to place a Venus portal. Now, what does that mean? You can see here these three connections between the brain domains. Venus, shaman, and bison, I don't know. And first of all, you can never place more than 2 of these vocabulary discs in any of these spaces here. Which one it can be is indicated here. In the Venus you can place an orange one or a black one. Shaman allows you to place an orange one or a white one, and here you can place a white one or a black one. You need these to create these elders here. You can see all these elders require 3 discs, 1 of each color. And now let's assume we want a warrior. As I said, you need 3 discs, a black one, an orange one, a white one. But they also have to be placed in a specific way. They have to be placed in a way that all of these 3 discs touch the social domain here, this red part. So that means, could be, for example, I don't know, a black one and an orange one here and a white one here. That would be possible. Now we start here with a white disc. That's our starting disc basically. And if we can place now an orange and a black Venus disc here, that would mean that this would be actually enough to create a napper, because this technical domain then would be touched by 3 discs, 1 of each color. That is the idea why this is for this guy pretty valuable. For him it's a little different. He doesn't really need that orange Venus. If he would place that here, it wouldn't help him to create a warrior because there already is an orange disc. So he doesn't really need that. For him it's similar. He has a black one already there, so if he could place a black disc there, it doesn't really help him either. So that's why it's especially valuable for him, and therefore he's willing to pay 2 orange discs. And he now places these discs on the card. And by the way, you always keep these discs. You never give them away ever in the game. You never give them to another player, or you give them, you discard them or something. You always keep these discs. It's just important how they kind of wander between your different cards. They can be on this card here on the brain map, or on some daughters, or maybe here on your sexuality card, or in the vocabulary. And that's where you want to have them. You want to have them in the vocabulary, because the vocabulary basically determines how many hunters you can have without being affected by the chaos. That's important. Okay, so that was basically now the first part of the turn, the event, and the culture auction. Now we come to the hunter assignment. And this is done in player order. And we can remember here, the green one was the first player, and then the yellow player. So he starts, and here's now 4 hunters, 4 unassigned hunters. Remember, because of the wanderlust, we had to give 2 hunters away. So that's a pretty bad start for him, actually. So in general, there are a few things you can achieve on your hunt. First of all, you can get more people. And this is indicated by this baby symbol here. So if you do a successful hunt, and I'm going to explain later what that is, on a biome that has this baby symbol, you get more hunters, which is mostly a good thing. Another thing you can achieve due to a hunt is you can free discs. Now what does that mean? Well, we've seen discs that are placed on these cards here. And if you're allowed to free a disc, then you're simply allowed to take one of these discs from the card back into your vocabulary. From what I understand, you cannot do this with the disc on your sexuality card. These discs are kind of permanent. And you can also not do this with the discs on your brain map, or in the brain. But you can do it with the disc here under this elder, and then this elder would become a mature elder, and his abilities would take effect. In addition, we could take trophies from a hunt, which is not so easy. The trophies are indicated by this symbol here. These are the smaller trophies, that's 1 trophy, and these are the big ones, 2 trophies. And a trophy simply gives you points. Here 2 points per trophy, or here even 4 points per trophy. So that can be pretty valuable. Another thing is you can get animals that you can domesticate. These are the ones which have this D here. Well, if you turn it around, you can see it's a D. Or you can get these inventions with an I. But these are things we're going to do later on, because to get these inventions or to domesticate an animal, you have to be tribal. And by the way, I've forgotten that to become tribal, that's when you're allowed to flip your card. You flip your card, then you become tribal. You have to have exactly 5 discs in your brain. If that's the case, the moment that happens, you flip your card and you become a tribal species, and that allows you to gain additional types of elders, and with these elders you then can domesticate animals or make inventions, which also would give you points for domesticated animals or inventions. But this is all far in the future. First, what we want to do is we want more people. We're only 4, that's bad. That's a pretty bad start. So we're going for more people and maybe free a black disc or a yellow one. And it shouldn't be too hard because we're only 4 and that's not too much. So let me see what we could do. I think I might actually go here for the saber-tooth salmon. I wonder if that's a good idea. Yeah, I think that's the easiest thing. The fallow deer is also an option. They would both give us babies and free an orange disc. You can see here that symbol. To have a successful hunt, you are allowed to roll as many dice as you have hunters placed on that card. And if you have that star symbol here, then, well, each 1 or 2 is a success. Here you need exactly 1 star. Here you would need 2 stars. Okay? We forget about this. This is also interesting because that means frostbite. If we roll a 6, for each 6 we roll, we lose 1 guy. So it's kind of risky. So I'm now not sure. I could do this. I only need a 1 or 2 with 4 dice to get 2 babies, but I take the risk of frostbite. Here I would get 3 babies, but I need twice a 1 or a 2. So that is a pretty tough decision. I think I'm going for the saber-toothed salmon here. So I'm simply going to place my 4 hunters there. I could also split them up, by the way, but this is not the best idea here, I guess. Okay, now second one is here the yellow player. And he already has 7 hunters, which is better. He's going to place 1 as a fire starter. Here, remember he was killed because of this elder kill event, so we want a new one. And to mark that he's immature, we have to place a black disc, because this is a black background here, a black disc underneath, and then we can place this guy above. And then let's see where we can place our hunters. I think our first goal should also be to simply make our population grow. And I think I'm going to go for the fallow deer here. That seems a pretty good idea. It gives us 3 people if we do a successful hunt, and we have definitely a better chance than the green guy because he only had 4 and I have 6. Finally, it's Cro-Magnon, Homo sapiens, and he has now actually 7. He hasn't lost his elder. He cannot start or place another elder simply because the brain domains are not revealed yet or are not covered yet. So We can also think about simply getting a few more people, and not sure where I want to go. It's not that easy. There are not so many interesting it's hard to tell. By the way, I've forgotten one thing. Until now it wasn't actually in effect. You can see here these two disk symbols. They're not here on the others, but here. That means that is a requirement, so you need some special special knowledge or special methods to hunt there. And in this case it's a natural and a social vocabulary, and you can only hunt there if you have that. And of course we have these two here. If we want to hunt on more cards, which require such things like this one here, for example, with two natural vocabularies, we had to add that. Then we would need overall 3 of these natural ones, just as an example, and 1 social one. But that's not what we're gonna do. We're only gonna hunt these tree goose here, and we're gonna place all of our guys here. We don't want to risk too much. We basically want to make sure that we grow. We could now also place our hunters on the same biome as the others are, which would bring us to a fight. Negotiations are not allowed yet. Later, if one of the guys is tribal, there can be negotiations. But now, as long as they're all vocal, negotiations are not allowed. And I think for now it would not be the best idea, because we simply would do damage to each other, and I think it's a better idea to grow right now than to attack each other. Okay, so that was the hunter assignment now. Okay, then we're doing the hunt. And the order is that you start on uncontested biomes and then on contested biomes, but there are no contested biomes, so it doesn't matter right now. We can start here with this fellow deer. So we have here 6 hunters. Therefore, we're allowed to roll 6 dice. And we need 2 successes of 1 or 2. Well, let's hope for the best here. And we did make that actually pretty easy. And you can see here there are 3. If we had triples, we could actually take this as a trophy, but we don't have triples, so that's not going to happen. Anyway, we had a successful hunt, the yellow player, so that now allows him to gain 3 additional cubes, 3 additional hunters. These become unassigned hunters. And in addition, he would now be allowed to free a orange disc, to remove an orange disc from somewhere. But that's not necessary, because there is no orange disc, so he can't do it. Next goes the archaic man here. He has only 4. So he needs only 1 success. And he didn't make it. He was pretty unsuccessful. But this is now interesting, because he actually has triples. See here, that means triples. And he also rolled a 6, which means frostbite. So he has 3 times a 5 and a 6. Now this is interesting because, first of all, let's do the 6. That's the frostbite. That means one of his hunters is killed. Then we can say the hunt was not successful. So here we don't get the reward we basically wanted. But because we have triples, we get this thing as a trophy anyway. And yeah, it doesn't matter if the hunt is successful or not. You gain the trophy anyway. So that means we can take the card now, place it upside down, or, well, rotate it here so that we see this trophy marker here for the saber-toothed salmon. And that is a single trophy, which would give us right now 2 points. So, well, it's not bad, but our group is getting smaller, and that's kind of a problem. Finally, and by the way, this card is not replaced. That's important. There is a gap because, well, it's kind of over-hunted or something like that. Finally, we have here the tree goose. So we have these 7 hunters there, which allows us to take 7 dice, and we roll. Now this time we have a 1, and that's exactly what we needed here. We needed a 1 to be successful. We also needed triples to take this in our hand. That would not give us a trophy because we don't have this trophy marker here, but it would allow us to domesticate this tree goose later on in the game. We don't have any triples, so we're not allowed to take it in our hand anyway, but we would gain 2 additional cubes of our color, and we can free a white cube, which we don't have. Okay, now that's the end of the hunt. And then we come to the last phase. First, we would do the domestic animals phase, but there are no domestic animals, so nothing happens. And now we go to the last phase, and that is the portal or neolexia phase. Elder actions are not allowed. You can only do elder actions if you are tribal. So portal or neolexia, you can only do one of these 2 actions, either a portal or a neolexia action. What does that mean? Well, a portal action means you can use your daughters. And here is indicated what kind of portal you would be allowed to place in your brain. And remember, if you have the right portals in your brain, that will allow you to activate more elders, and if you have 5 portals in your brain, you become tribal. So that would be a portal action. But to use this ability of your daughter, she has to be mature. And as long as the discs that you used for bidding lie on that card, she's not mature. So that is also a reason why probably no one is willing to bid too many discs, because the more you bid, the longer it takes till she can be mature and until you can use her abilities. Okay, so therefore a portal action is for that guy not possible because the daughter is not mature yet. What is a neolexia action? Well, that means you can free a disk, for example, from a daughter, or here this one underneath an elder, but that disk has to be of the same color as one of the disks that is on your brain map. So right now, this poor guy only has a white disk in his brain map, so this natural knowledge. But to do a neolexia action, he would need either an orange disk or a black one. So therefore, he cannot do any of these actions. Bad luck for him. Same thing here with this guy. He doesn't have any daughter at all, so he cannot do a portal action. And because he doesn't have a black disk in his brain or whatever, he cannot do this neolexia action here either. It's a little different for the Neanderthal. He has this technological vocabulary here, so that allows him to remove this disk from his fire starter elder, so that now this is a mature elder, and that means again that now these abilities come into effect. Phase 1, during chaos, no elder loss and round losses down. Phase 2, cost-free elder promotions, that's pretty cool. And phase 4, he would be immune to frostbite. That's what we saw here with this saber-toothed salmon, where one of the hunters died of frostbite. That would have not happened if you could make a fire. Okay, so that was the last phase now, this neolexia action by this guy, and that is the end of the first turn. Okay, let's do one more turn in this video, I guess. It seems a little complicated. I think it's a pretty heavy game, but once you're into it, it's not as bad as it might seem first. So this is another event. In human linguistic history, there must have been an autistic phase with enough words to systemize behavior rules, but none to connect these rules with the actions of others. Okay. First of all, we have again this worm glacial. That means we have to place another card, another event card here on top. So the game goes again one turn longer. And then we have again an elder dead. So we got to roll 3 dice this time. Each one has to roll 3 dice. And we see if an elder will die. Basically, we only have elders of rank 6. So that means if we roll a 6, we have a problem. First, the green guy rolls, and he's fine. Then Homo sapiens, and he's also fine. Finally, the Neanderthal guy, and he's also fine. So we were all lucky, very lucky actually. No elder losses here. That means that now we have to auction these women. Caring woman. Empathy. That would mean you could win auction ties. Usually auction ties are won by player order, but in this case it's this woman which wins. And it would allow to place a red and black Venus portal, just the same as she could do. So that makes her not very attractive. We've seen that these two guys are not that interested in this red and black Venus portal thing, and he already has that. So overall, maybe one is bidding one or something. I'm not sure. Okay, so the Neanderthal, he decided to do a bid, and the currency here is these social vocabulary discs. So he gets it for 1. The minimum bid is 1, by the way. If you bid nothing, the card is simply discarded. Okay, it's not a big advantage, but in general, where you can do the empathy, which is not bad, wing auction ties, that might help him. And husbands and daughters in general bring points, so it's not bad anyway. Okay, the player order is yellow, green, yellow, and red. So the green player starts, and he is already a little in trouble with only 3 guys left. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. Let's hope he's not going to be extinct. So he's going to go here on the tree goose. He fulfills the requirements with the 2 discs, so that's not a big deal. And yeah, he's hoping to be successful here. The next one is then the yellow player. Okay, so what is he going to do? Well, we now have to start to count, actually. We have here exactly 9 people, and we have about, well, okay, more than enough. These are 9 vocabulary, so we can have 4 additional people before things become risky. So I think what I want to do is, I'm going to take all these suckers and hunt the fallow deer. That would give us 3 additional people. I could free this orange disc, which would make this daughter mature. And maybe if I'm lucky, I will even get a trophy. So let's hope for the best here. We have a good chance with all these people there. Okay, then it's this guy here, and well, hard to tell. Well, he could make an aggressive move and attack the poor green guy here with a tree goose. That is an option. Is it very helpful? Hard to tell. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do this pretty aggressive move. I know it's not nice. So I'm going to place 3 guys in the flint mine, because I want to free the black disc of this guy, and then I'm gonna actually attack here this guy on this tree goose biome. Okay, so that was the hunter assignment. Now we see the hunt, and we start with the uncontested biomes. Let's do this one first here. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 dice. So that's a pretty big hunting party here. And that was definitely a success. We had 2 1s and 1s or 2s. Now we got to see if we have triples, and we actually do. We have 3 times a 6 or 3 times a 2. So we will also gain the trophy. That's pretty amazing. But we also should now see that another good prey is now lost. You know, it's a kind of overhunted. I think you don't have to take it as a trophy. It's your own decision. But then again, trophies can be pretty valuable, so I'm not going to leave it there. And I can free an orange disc, and then I'll gain 3 new yellow hunters. Now let's count this again. We have now 6, 9, and that's 12. We have here, that's 5, that's 10. Okay, so I guess we are about at 14 vocabulary. So we can have 2 more hunters. We can support 2 more hunters with our vocabulary. We have to keep that in mind. But for now, it's all fine. Now let's see what happens in the flint one. We roll 3 dice for the Homo sapiens. And he's successful. He's got a 2 and a 1. He only needed 1 success. So that allows him simply to free a black disc. That is good because he now has a fire starter elder. Finally, we now see the battle here on this biome. And, well, how does that work? Okay, let's see. The 2 guys will attack each other. The one with more, with the higher technological vocabulary, the black one, the black discs, he will go first. Now they both have 4 black discs in the vocabulary, so therefore there is no difference. And then we go in player order. Green is first player, red is last player, so that means green is allowed to go first. Remember, this green guy belongs to red because from the Wanderlust. So red is now rolling 3 dice, 1 for each hunter. Each one is a kill. Bad luck here. Now it's the other guys, and they have 6 dice. And, well, let's see what happens. If this is going to be a bad roll for green, he might come close to extinction. And it is. My goodness, 4 times a 1, that sucks. So all the green hunters are killed, so that means now green has only this little elder, this immature elder left. This really sucks. There's a special rule which allows you, if you are close to extinction, you can take that elder and then you can take that elder from the from this table, which is normally not allowed. But if you don't have any hunters left, you can do it. And that's what we're going to see now. So that was really horrible. And now after this battle, we will actually see the hunt itself. And it's going to happen with 6 dice. And, well, this time we don't have a single success. We need a 1 here to do a successful hunt. We haven't had that. So that means we simply go back and we don't get the we don't get the population or the disc. Okay, now that really sucked for green. We come now to the last phase. Green can do absolutely nothing. No portals because his daughter is still immature, and also no neolexia action, simply because he doesn't have a matching portal here. Same thing for Homo sapiens, and it's the same thing for this guy. Well, no, that's actually wrong. he has a daughter. So in theory, he could place one of these portals, a green, an orange or a black disc, here on that Venus portal. Well, a black disc would not be allowed. You cannot place the same color twice. It would make no sense anyway. An orange disc would be okay, but he's pair bonding. That says your daughter's abilities and portal actions are inactive until she marries. So that means she has to marry first. So we have to take a hunter, place it here. It can also be a foreign hunter, by the way. And then we can marry her, and then we can use her abilities. So therefore, right now, there's nothing we can do with the Neanderthal in this phase. Okay. So I guess it's time to load this up now. And, well, sadly for the Archaic, he had a terrible start. He was hit by the Wanderlust, and then by this big hunting party that rolled really bad. So, yeah, it's a horrible start. He's nearly at he's nearly at the point of extinction here, and he probably won't come back. It's extremely difficult to come back, especially if the others kind of want to keep you down. You know, I mean, anytime he becomes a little stronger again, maybe gets 2 or 3 new hunters, another guy can simply go with all his guys and try to attack him, and he always is now on the edge of extinction. That's maybe a problem of this game, actually. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna load this up now, and hope to see you on my next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye. Okay, things are actually a little different. I made an important mistake, and I'm going to correct this. I just checked that Wanderlust rule again. And what happens is, these guys, the Wanderlust hunters, they don't come from your unassigned hunter pool, but they come from the common dead pool. That's a big difference, because that means that the green player has instead 2 more hunters, and these 2 guys came from the dead pool. That makes a difference. I'm going to try to correct that a little bit, because that allows the green player to roll 2 more guys in his fight against the damn it. Was it the yellow guy or the red guy? Who went first? I think it was the red guy. Pretty sure it was the red guy. Shit. I'm gonna check that. Anyway, I'm gonna roll here, and well, sadly he didn't have any ones, so it didn't make such a difference, but a little bit, because he would have lost, I think, 4 hunters. I'm gonna check that on the video later. So I think what would happen now is he's left with 1 hunter here. And actually there would also be a difference in the first turn when he hunted this guy. So again, he would be allowed to roll 2 more hunt dice, and this time he made a success. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow him to get these 2 babies. I know it's a little bit, you know, it's not really what would have happened possibly, but it makes a difference, and in this way he has a chance, a small chance, to actually stay in the game. I mean, we still had that terrible confrontation between these 2 tribes or these 2 groups, but Now, basically what happened is he managed to do a successful hunt here on the saber-toothed salmon. In addition, he got the trophy. That gave him 2 more of these. And yeah, then his situation is not quite as bad, but it is still bad. And you will see that to survive with only 3 guys or come back into the game, if you play against these big groups here, this is going to be very, very hard. So we're going to see how he's doing in the next turns, if he can come back or not.